Good morning. Going to do a little bit of reconfiguration behind me for those of you who were here yesterday. We're going to do an abbreviated version, but just as data-filled daily watch for you. So a little bit of a reminder, and actually for anyone who is a SONAR licensed user and those of you who attended, you should have received yesterday the video capture of our daily watch that we did live. We'll do the same thing today. We'll send out that video capture of the daily watch. And tomorrow, for those of you who are SONAR licensed users, you will be back to the cadence of receiving your daily watch at 10 a.m. sharp. Every day, including the weekend edition. I didn't talk in it at all. The weekend edition on Saturday probes more deeply into a particular topic that our data, which I was hearing in the back there, should be worth billions and billions of dollars. The Saturday edition is more intended to be more have a cup of coffee and be able to digest what's being said. And your Sunday edition tells you what to anticipate and look for in the week ahead. So you've got each of the days of the week and your weekends all structured for you for your SONAR licensed users. So let's go through it. For those of you who are here on demo day, you remember that there is going to be a countdown clock. This thing has to run on time. The trains have to run on time. Sounds like we're not actually Switzerland, but Germany. So we're going to try to make the trains run on time in Germany here. And we're going to go in the same batting order. So I'm going to have Zach Strickland, our senior marketing analyst, come out and be the first one, since we're using baseball analogies, our leadoff hitter today. And you'll remember that Zach has in his expertise technical analysis, futures trading, LTL pricing, data management, and analytics. And we're going to start the clock now. Zach?
All right. Tender rejection levels across the country remain relatively flat, an indication that capacity is relatively unchanged. Even in our favorite pistachio-growing capital of Los Angeles, tender rejections are actually showing signs of coming back down, meaning that the market might be moving to a more stable environment.
Where is that in the back?
I don't know.
We need the SONAR screen up, please.
Oh, no chart. But
go ahead.
Just because the rest of the country is stable doesn't mean that everywhere is stable right now. The hot market of the day is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania as well. A lot of this is due to the tweener try as well as the short haul try, which are length of haul volumes, length of haul tender rejections. So cities within 450 to 800 miles away from Pittsburgh, be wary. So brokers, increase your rates. Carriers, move a truck into Pittsburgh. Thank you.
All right, Zach, hang on a second here. Are we going to get the screen, the SONARs up? May have to take a minute. All right, we'll just go ahead and keep going. Thank you, Zach. All right, come on out. We've got our market analyst, Michael Crosby. You'll remember that Michael's has technical analysis, futures trading, LTL pricing, data management, and analysis. And since we don't have the SONAR screens up there and ready yet, you have to listen very carefully to every word that Michael said. Every word that Michael Crosby says, whether it be today or any time, is worth the price of admission. So, Michael, go for it.
Thank you very much. Where's the beef, said the old lady on the Wendy's commercial in 1984. Essentially, that's what people are wondering about the volumes. Our OTVI.USA shows the volume for the entire country. So we had a nice recovery after Labor Day, but after that, it went down and then it just kind of went sideways. So that translates into a stable market, but for an analyst, it's kind of boring. We are seeing some action on the West Coast in several markets, especially the Los Angeles area. So as we go headfirst into retail season, we also have shippers from all over the world cramming containers into the port of Long Beach ahead of the impending tariffs. So if you're a carrier, head west, there's plenty of volume. Shippers will extend their lead times, blow up your routing guide. Brokers do the same thing for your contracts and increase rates for your transactional business. Now, if you've heard anything I've said this entire week, just remember the secret to... Says I'm out of time.
Keep going. You're going. Keep going.
Well, rules are rules. I don't know. I tell you what, I'll make a deal. If you come to Transparency next year in Atlanta, then I will tell you the rest of the story.
Thanks, Michael. Well done. Well done. And now we've got our, you'll remember Ibrahim Bayan. Ibrahim is our chief economist, and his areas of expertise are macroeconomic analysis, transportation economics, and parcel markets. Ibrahim, floor is yours.
Morning, everybody. This morning, the National Federation of Independent Businesses reported that small business optimism dipped about a half a percentage point. Now, that isn't particularly noteworthy in and of itself. I mean, business optimism is still pretty high. It set a record a couple months ago and has been hovering around those levels. But what is interesting is that when they do this survey, they ask these small business owners what the most important issue is that's facing their businesses. Right, and normally it's things like taxes or regulation that plague small businesses. But recently, the thing that has kind of emerged as being the #1 problem for businesses has been the quality of labor. And this is something that the trucking industry is very familiar with. Right, they're just having a hard time finding people that are qualified to work the jobs that they want. It's now, the percentage of people that report this as the single most important problem has hit a record high. And as you go into 2019 with unemployment as low as it is, keep in mind the competition for workers is going to be very tight. Expect high wages and just more competition for labor. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Ibrahim. Thought it was really interesting when Craig and Michael were up here and talking about the weather forecasting. Let's have Nick Austin come out and join me, and how what used to be the one-day forecast, we're now as accurate on the 5-day forecast. But as Nick knows, with his background of being a television meteorologist, we really don't have the ability to hold them to any level of responsibility, whether their expectation is it's going to rain, snow, you-know-what, or blow. So as we've discussed, weather analysis, weather forecasting are Nick Austin's reason for being a market expert. Nick, the floor is yours.
Thanks, George. A few things to mention for truckers that are going to be out on the roads today. Heavy snow up in parts of the interior Northeast, right along the Canadian border. And there's going to be some wind, heavy snow, so that'll limit visibility. Wildfires still creating smoky skies up and down California. Also road closures, not major closures on interstates, but parts of the Pacific Coast Highway, as well as some other important routes up in Northern California. So it's going to be kind of hard to haul freight through certain areas. And if you stepped outside at all just for a minute this morning, you probably noticed it was unusually cold here in the Dallas area for this time of the year. And all across the state and eastward, all the way over into Mississippi, freeze warnings in effect again for tomorrow morning. So there are going to be problems as far as fuel gelling and the diesel, as well as the CCA values as far as batteries. Some batteries in some trucks may be getting cranked up. It's going to be pretty tough with the cold weather over the next couple of days.
Well done. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
And having lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex for 12 years and it never being as cold as it was last night, thanks, Nick, for the weather that we've had. So as you can see, Dean's joined me early on. He's not particularly happy about what happened to him yesterday at the end of his session, so he's going to probably start talking even before I can give you his market expertise. But remember, Dean really is an extraordinary experienced and extraordinary market expert in the area of telematics, ELDs, hours of service, trucking equipment, sleep and sleep disorders, the 24/7 workplace schedule design, and human performance. Okay, it's my pleasure. Batting cleanup, although I know it's fifth, so don't give me a hard time. Batting cleanup for the market experts, Dean Crow.
Thank you, George. Turns out this is a two-part story, so I'm determined to finish what I started yesterday. Yesterday we were about halfway up through Mexico with a whole lot of intermodal freight that we think is coming through the southern ports of Mexico. Some of this inbound pre-January 1 tariff container freight that we're seeing emerge. We're seeing some US-Mexico border freight markets start to pop, in particular the market of El Paso. Just in the last 2 weeks in El Paso, the outbound tender reject, which is kind of a reflection of what carriers are doing, we saw that jump 99%. So just in the last 2 weeks, tender rejections are out 99%. Mostly van and long-haul trucking, so it tells you something about what type of freight it is. vans up 78%, and long-haul trucking's up 53%. On the shipper side, they're also finding it very hard to find capacity, and that their tender lead time is out from 3 days to 4 days. So they're finding it very hard to find capacity. Why El Paso? Intermodal volumes are up 14% in Mexico. It's within 11 hours of the West Coast. You can be in Los Angeles and San Diego within 11 hours, and you can be in Chicago and Atlanta within about 22 hours. So if you think about the position of El Paso relative to the bulk of the US population, it's an ideal market for shippers and carriers to be bringing in a lot of import freight. Come by and visit us at the SONAR booth later today. We've got lots more data to share and lots more stories to tell you. Thank you, George.
Thank you, Dean. Appreciate it. Thank you to the entire Market Expert team. I hope you enjoyed that. And a little bit more about the Market Expert team. As Dean described, they'll be down in the Market Expert Lounge, the Mel, down on the floor. And they're also critically important for those of you who are SONAR users and thinking about becoming SONAR users. You are going to have the ability to have access to all the market experts. So they are textable, they are phoneable. There's a dedicated Slack channel for the market experts to be able to provide you information. So please make sure as a SONAR user or a soon-to-be SONAR user, you're taking good advantage of all of the resources that we are making available to you.